Hello, my name is Jerry Dollins, and in today's demonstration, I'll be showing you how Itential automates the provisioning of a cloud application. I'll start with an overview of the automation, and then we'll jump into the Itential automation platform, and we'll see it run live. Our demo today will be kicked off using a form in Operations Manager, but this automation can just as easily be triggered by an event or via an API call. The automation will first provision a new VPC, and once that VPC is ready, it will then launch an EC2 instance and wait for it to come online. When our instance is ready, the automation will start working on configuring our network via the Alkira platform. This includes creating an AWS connector and an internet connector, as well as provisioning a Palo Alto firewall. After Alkira has finished provisioning our network, we still need to configure our firewall to allow traffic to pass. This will be done by first onboarding our firewall into the Itential automation gateway, which allows us to configure the device. We'll also be using a Jinja 2 template to generate the configuration that we need. Once the firewall is onboarded, we use the automation gateway to push that configuration to the firewall to enable branch connectivity to our cloud application. All right, let's jump into the automation platform and take a look at the workflow in Automation Studio. Our first step here is a transformation, which does data manipulation to prepare our input data for automation. The next step is a child job, which allows us to nest one workflow within another. In this case, it's an Itential pre-built automation, which obtains the ID for the chosen segment in Alkira. After that, we have a query task, which allows us to extract a single value from the data returned in the previous step. Next is another child job. This one here provisions our VPC along with the associated networking, and then launches our EC2 instance. Following that step, we have two queries, which extract the VPC ID and the private IP address of our newly created EC2 instance, both to be used in our final step of the workflow. And that final step here is one last child job that provisions the connectors and firewall in Alkira. All right, now that we've reviewed what the automation is doing, let's get into our demo. We'll start in Operations Manager, which is where we can define how automations are triggered. Now, there are many ways to trigger an automation, and for today's demo, we'll be using a form to kick things off. Now, in our forms, we have the ability to federate data using our various integrations with other systems. What that means is that the values in these drop-down fields are being populated dynamically from our sources of truth, ensuring that we always use accurate data. All right, let's go ahead and kick things off. Okay, here we have a visual and detailed audit of our automation as it's running. We can see that we've already completed the first 3 steps as indicated by the check mark on the tasks. While we're waiting for our VPC and EC2 instance to come online, let's take a look at our network in Alkira. Here we can see our current network topology, where we have a single IPsec connector to our branch location. Once our automation is complete, we'll see our firewall and additional connectors here as well. Back in the automation platform, we can see here that the provisioning of our VPC and EC2 instance has just completed. And now we've moved on to the final step, provisioning the connectors and firewall. Let's take a look and see how that's going. We're using a few more Itential pre-builds here to enable branch connectivity. We're creating our AWS connector, creating our internet connector, and provisioning our Palo Alto firewall. Now, provisioning the firewall can take a moment, so let's jump ahead to when that's ready. Okay, our firewall is ready and has also been onboarded into the automation gateway. The automation is now generating the new configuration and pushing it to the device. And it looks like it just finished. Let's take a look at our network. Back in the Alkira platform, we can see our fully provisioned network. We now have our internet connector, our AWS connector, and our Palo Alto firewall. The last thing to do is to test our connectivity. All right, I've grabbed the IP address for our EC2 instance. Go ahead and put that in here. And as you can see, we now have access to our new web server from our branch location. That will conclude our demonstration today. Thank you for watching.